Hello, I'm Akshay and today I'll be demonstrating a two-way sync automation system that I built to connect a lead tracker in Google Sheets with a work tracker in ClickUp. This project showcases real-world integration patterns, conflict resolution, and intelligent automation. So let's talk a little about the tools I have used and why. So I chose Google Sheets because it is easily accessible and all the sales teams are familiar with it, and ClickUp is a work tracker which comes with lots of features, and it also offers both the SaaS platforms offers APIs which we can actually use to uh, do do changes or fetch data by our Python code. The system is built in Python and we are utilizing Google Sheet version 4 API, and for ClickUp it's version 2. On top of that, there is a clear separation of concerns, so the code is organized accordingly. We have a mapping store that we have created to keep track of all the changes so that we don't uh, create duplicates, and it maintains idempotency, and also all the data remains consistent. Why these choices? Because these are production ready, well documented, and represent real use case scenarios that companies actually use. Yeah, so at the top we have two external services that I told. We have Google Sheets and ClickUp, and this uh, script automation kind of maintains the sync between the two. So let's talk about the code a little now. So the code is divided into few folders. First one is clients. So these contain all the code we require to actually connect with the client and do the changes. For example, in our case, ClickUp and Google Sheets are actually the clients that we need to connect to pull up the data or make the changes. So first file, ClickUp client.python, it contains all the code and functions related to connect with ClickUp, handle its responses. Yeah, so this is for handling API responses. We are handling rate limiting and bad requests, and this is a function that is actually used to create the ClickUp task to an actual uh, object that we can work upon. Similar to that, this is just the reverse of that. We can convert any task or object to ClickUp task data that we can write. Apart from that, we have a retry with backup function which is used in case any API calls gets failed. So this retry with backup function, what this will do is retry that with a delay back of time. Okay, so we have, yeah, more helper functions like get all tasks, get task, create task, which is actually used to get, create, or update or delete any task in ClickUp. Right. We also have a create checklist function that I've created. What this will do is create actual SOPs as checklist in our tasks, so there can be a real value that we can show. I'll show this in a minute. Okay, similar for the Google Sheets, we have helper functions here. I've declared the column names, so this is the actual sheet and these are the column names. So I've configured it here, so for data parsing, and we are authenticating to this account. So actually this sheet is actually shared with an email. For that we have set up the service account, and using this credentials.json file we are actually able to authenticate into our Google Sheets and make the changes or read it. Similar to that of ClickUp client, we have some helper functions here like row to lead, which is actually used to convert a read a row from here and convert the data into a object that we can do operations on. Okay, we are using that retry with back of decorator here as well for retrying any failed API calls. Okay, yeah. uh, that's about the clients. Now we have some helper code as well. For this is for handling all the API calls, and it defines the API calls which API routes that our script is using. There is code for cleaning up duplicates, right? We are using Pydantic for data handling and operations. Okay, let's clean it now. So let's close it. This is all for cleaning duplicates or orphan tasks. Suppose a script gets failed, then extra orphan records will be cleared from here, right? This is the configuration file where we are actually storing all the credentials, right? Let me show you the env file. So the actual one I have just masked it for don't so that I don't expose it. So these are the credentials, Google Sheets path. So Google credentials path, this actually stores all the information. This is downloaded via our Google Cloud project for authenticating into our Google account, which has the access for Sheets, Google Sheet ID. So this will be actually the ID which we get from the link itself. And similarly for ClickUp API token and list ID. Yeah, this will be our list ID and API token. We can get it from the settings. Okay. Yeah, let's talk a little about the requirements file. So here we have the dependencies that this Python script uses. We have Google API Python client, Google Auth for connecting with Google services, Pydantic, yeah, Python.env for reading.env file, fast API for creating API endpoints, and uh, PyTest for actually testing this. So we have a test folder which has all the scripts for testing it. Okay, now let's move to the demo quickly. I have imported this sheet from here. So now there are two scripts. First one actually creates if you run it, Python, yeah, the first one is initial sync, which actually gets created, which actually gets called and actually pull up the data from the Google Sheet, and it will create the corresponding tasks in our ClickUp. So let's run it. So what this will do is connect to the Google Sheet API and will fetch initial data from our Google Sheet that contains all the leads. These are all lead names and the statuses. So let me talk about these statuses. So all the new status will be get mapped to do. The qualified ones will be mapped to completed, and there is also another one which I'll show in a minute is contacted, that will be in progress. So if we check the list of the leads here, it is getting created automatically as our script is running. We are logging all the details. In case something fails, we'll be able to quickly identify and fix it, right? All the mappings are getting stored here. So we have a mapping store that actually creates and stores all the mappings in SQLite database. So we are storing when the data is last synced, what is the status, so that we can identify the changes smartly and apply it. So yeah, uh, the script is successful. So now we have all the data. Now let's try changing it and see if it gets updated. So for example, I'll change Rahul Verma, which is qualified, and it should be completed here. Yes. Now let's change it quickly to contacted. So this gets mapped to in progress. So if I run the script, this would be in progress. Now let's do a change here also. So I'll just move Rohit to to do. Yeah, done. So now Rohit should be the status of Rohit should be new. So we have made changes for Rahul and Rohit, right? So let's run the script now. So for syncing, this script name is sync. Okay, so now it will just detect the changes from these two files. So if we can see, uh, yeah, Rohit should be new, that is done, and Rahul, which I had changed to contacted in here, should be moved to in progress. So yeah, Rahul is in progress, and as we changed for Rohit is in to do, and its status is now new. So that's how it works. It uh, fetches all the data from these two services we have, and we are storing all the mappings in a SQLite database to detecting the changes smartly, and yeah, it applies it. So that's about the project. I have updated it on GitHub. Thank you.